At his most recent interview, Elon Musk once again calculated that the numbers for Tesla's humanoid bot Optimus are so mind-blowing, they don't look real. He believes the market for humanoid robots is in the excess of 10 billion units, more than the number of humans. So if they do sell at volume for even just $20,000, that's 200 trillion in revenue. What would that make Tesla's market cap to be? Now add in AI and Robotaxi, and today what we're going to do is going to go through these calculations and projections in more detail. Plus, we'll also deep dive on whether Tesla should invest in XAI. So today we've got Larry Goldberg with us. He's a multi-entrepreneur and he often does deep dives on this. He did a fantastic post on X about whether Tesla should invest in XAI. We're going to go through that. You got a lot of engagement and a lot of conversation. You started with that. But let's start first with Elon Musk. So Elon obviously came out on the X takeover. He was interviewed and he shared some thoughts about the bot. Well, I forgot to say welcome. Thank you, Larry, for joining me. I appreciate you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Don't know how I forgot to do that.
I can always defer to Elon Musk, believe me.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Okay, let's go and play Elon.
The Optimus numbers, like they're really they're like so mind blowing that you're like, is this real? Because I actually think the market for humanoid robots is in excess of 10 billion units, like more than the number of humans. Because people will each want one, and then there'll be others that are involved in industry and stuff. So if they do sell for $20,000, that's $200 trillion. This is just an insane number. That's why I wonder, what does money even mean at that point, you know?
So $200 trillion, is he talking crazy numbers? Is this real?
No, they're not crazy numbers. Look, how many cell phones sell a year? About over a billion, like $1.3 billion, I think we talked about. So, you know, as many cell phones as sell a year now are going to sell at least in terms of bots. Because if you think about a bot, okay, it's going to be, 10 times, maybe 20 times the price of a cell phone. But the cell phone's functionality is going to be incorporated into the bot in the future. Anybody who owns a bot won't need a cell phone. And then, when you think about the usefulness of a bot, and cell phones aren't used in industry to manufacture things. Millions of bots are going to be used in industry. So, I mean, the potential for bots are just endless in terms of capability, in terms of functionality, usefulness, and in terms of productivity. So I don't think it's ridiculous. I think it's right on target.
Yeah. So he's also referring to not only C3POs, right, but R2D2s. So it's going to be all sorts of form factors.
Right.
How long do you, what's your projection of when will this all happen? He's talking way in the future, 2050? Or is he talking about, 5 years from now? What's your projections?
Somewhere around those two dates, yeah. I mean, we're moving at a heck of a speed. If you read the posts by those people who are following the bot carefully, Scott Walter, for example, and others, you can see that there's, the speed at which we're moving towards, the bot world is picking up dramatically. There are probably, 20 vendors now developing bots. I know that it's probably the hottest thing in the startup world. The amount of money that's going into it, so it's going to be highly competitive. Before it even becomes, a market, it's already competitive. There are many, many, many manufacturing companies that have started serious, test programs, including the major auto manufacturers. We know Tesla's already using bots in its factory. We know BMW are. We know that I think it was Mercedes are as well. We know many warehouse firms are already using robots, not bots, but robots. And now we have a case where several warehouses are already working with bot companies to test robots. So it's begun already. You said when, it's begun. And so you're going to see this, creeping explosion, because it's going to be like little explosions and then this very big explosion. And it's going to be soon. This is not going to take long. We're at the confluence of so many technologies that come together that enable it. AI first and foremost. Secondly, the ability to manufacture motors and actuators that are extremely low cost. And thirdly, this vision capability, this ability to assimilate vision and use it as an input in AI. So this is and battery technology. So if you bring all of that together, we're there. I mean, it's happening, and it's happening so suddenly that it's going to make the development of the phone to a creeping caterpillar compared to what's happening.
Yeah. So tell me if you agree with this thinking. He said that next year, 2025, he'll do several thousand. That could mean 1,000, 2,000, several means 2,000 or more. Several thousand that they're going to use for Tesla only. Okay. They're going to do version 1 for next year. So let's assume 3,000 bots. Then the following year, he said, we'll be able to do mass scale because we'll do version 2 at that point. So now they figured everything out, took them a whole year. We'll do mass scale, what we're going to sell to customers already. So a typical thing that we've heard many bot CEOs agree with, and in fact, even Elon agreed with this one, somebody who had come up with how many bots they expect per year. It's basically a 10x for every year. So if you made 2,000 this year, you'll make 20,000 the next year, you make 200,000, you make 2 million. But if you listen to Elon and you look at the production level that they can do, once you get to version 2 and you've already done a couple thousand, Elon can then release it like you would a Cybertruck, a brand new vehicle, and the vehicle itself is making 70,000 vehicles. This is a lot easier. So instead of just 2,000, the following year, probably, in my mind, it's going to be over 100,000. Because if it takes you 70,000 to ramp up a vehicle in 1 year, you should be able to make 100,000 bots, if not more. Then 1 million, then 10 million, then 100 million. That's how we're going to go. What's your thoughts on that thinking?
Well, even allowing for Elon time, it's possible you could get to, a factor of that number. Why is it important? If you're talking about, this kind of quantity, it's almost like numbers don't count. He said, what's the value of money at this point? I'm a little bit more cautious. I must say that it's happening a little bit faster than I predicted, 6 months ago, or it's apparently happening a little bit faster than I predicted 6 months ago, or a year ago, certainly faster than I predicted a year ago. Let's see. I think there are still some significant challenges.
Yeah.
And we see them actually move. We see the videos that are made. I think we've got a way to go.
Okay. And then he's very confident that this is going to be used by consumers. He talked about the 3 examples was go get your groceries, take care of your kids, do your dishes. Those were the 3 examples he gave. And then he said that, he sees that everybody's going to be able to put wraps, personalize the bot, just like you would put a wrap on a Cybertruck. And then Pharrell, apparently he told the story that Pharrell will want to have his own version of the bot, customized. What was your thoughts about this whole thing? Is it likely to be sold to consumers? Is it important that they can customize it?
Absolutely will be sold to consumers. Absolutely will be customized for consumers. It'll be a fashion statement. When? That's the open question. And so, this is the ideal consumer device. I said it'll replace phones. Clearly, it'll replace phones. It'll replace it'll change our lifestyles quite significantly. And, it may be the answer to our falling birth rate. This could have terrible sociological impacts or great sociological impacts. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
It's unforeseeable.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. I'm not sure if it's going to replace a mobile phone. Totally different reasons for that. but I like your.
I think it will. I think it will, because who would need to actually mess around with something by hand when one can just discuss with the bot what you wanted to communicate and when you want to communicate, how you want to communicate, and it could provide the same functions as a phone very easily.
That's so. One of the things you did was, the future of AI for Tesla. He's talked about building the largest supercomputer in the world at Giga Texas, and of course, they have the largest supercomputer in the world with the XAI company in Memphis. But you did a great analysis, because obviously last week everybody was wondering, should Tesla invest in XAI? Elon himself put up a poll, and he asked just generic public people, says, should we do that $5 billion? And 68% of people said yes. And then he goes, okay, well, we'll get shareholder approval for this to see if they want to do that. So let me just read this.
First get board approval and then shareholder approval.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. He's going to get board approval first, then shareholder vote to see whether or not Tesla should invest. And I think the number that he even put up was $5 billion into XAI. So you then said this, okay, there's a great deal of angst in the Tesla community around XAI, and it boils down to 3 questions. You're absolutely correct. There was a lot of discussion around this. Is XAI likely to become profitable? Aren't there too many AI companies already? That was one of the main people saying it's already a commodity. And in fact, many of these companies are going to fall, they think, because they can't generate revenue, especially when Meta is offering their LLM for free. How do you become profitable? Why did Elon not simply start an AI project within Tesla, just like Optimus? He's already answered that question several times. But yeah, there's some people saying, hey, Elon, we don't need to buy XAI or be part of it. We should be putting it and hiring our own. We already have the largest AI company in the world, real world AI. We don't need XAI. Should Tesla become an investor in XAI? Yeah, that was the question. Go ahead and tell us what you wrote there.
Well, I kind of broke it down to these 3 questions. And the first question is XAI likely to become profitable? And you pointed out that, there's now chatter that AI is not going to be profitable and that Meta's just giving away the LLM. There's so much misunderstanding about what an LLM is, what AI is, and is AI an LLM, and is Meta, if Meta makes their LLM an open source, does that invalidate everybody's LLM? Well, the answer to that question is actually quite simple. There's no such thing as an LLM. Every LLM is different, and every LLM is different in different ways. And every LLM achieves different results, and the LLM itself, the large language model, is not as important as the functional capability built on that LLM, and that functional capability tends to evolve the LLM itself. So it's like, there are multiple computer languages, and computer languages are not that valuable. What's valuable is what's built on the computer languages, and what's built on the computer languages tend to evolve the languages themselves. An LLM is just one facet of a functional AI system. It's an important facet, but it's just one facet. And the capabilities of that, of what you do with that system and the data you use for that system is actually functionally more important than the underlying LLM. That's the first thing I'll say. And all LLMs use different architectures, and we're only beginning to discover what's really capable. So that journey has just begun. LLM companies aren't all the same, and it's not going to become a commodity. Secondly,
good point.
Why not simply start an AI company within Tesla, just like we're doing with Optimus? And the answer is very simple. It's going to need tens and tens of billions of dollars to build an AI company. We have $30 billion of free cash in Tesla. We know already that in the next 3 years, that $30 billion is spoken for in capital requirements that Tesla already has. I've argued in the past we need more capital, but we haven't done it and Tesla hasn't raised it. So everybody's ignored me. That's normal. But that's fine. I don't mind that. But we do know that the car company, the bot company, and the energy company need $30 billion. Which means if we want to start an AI company, that's going to need at least another $30 billion, if not $50 billion. We're going to have to raise it. We have to go to market to raise that money. That means that AI company will completely, subsume most of Tesla. Well, I don't think that's a good idea for Tesla. However, if we take $5 billion, which is a reasonable amount of money, and invest it in an AI company that can support what we need by way of general AI as opposed to what we're using in terms of vision AI, then that's an excellent addition to what we need. And that's why I think Tesla should be an investor and that we shouldn't include AI within Tesla. That's kind of the summary. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I like your new points you've brought in I hadn't heard yet. But the obvious one that Elon already said is he tried to make Tesla, he thinks it's important that Tesla does AGI. He wanted to bring these people there, but they did not want to work for Tesla because you're a large corporation. They want to start as a startup, and that's the greater value. And so that's why he had to create XAI. He tried.
That's an excellent argument, but you notice I didn't use any of his argument.
I know.
I wanted to just focus on the actual financial analysis from the perspective of a Tesla investor. Now, operationally, he's told us he can't physically hire those people. And I believe him. Look, the people who work for FSD and Tesla are, they are focused on FSD. The people who want to work on general AI, who want to work on, AGI, general intelligence, that's a different person. And in a way, that was why Karpathy left Tesla.
Exactly. Good
because,
point.
This focus
he wanted
on
AGI.
FSD, he wanted AGI. And that's, that's why he started OpenAI. He's one of the founders of OpenAI. So there's this dichotomy. Yes, it's fantastic to work at Tesla. Yes, it's fantastic to work for Elon Musk. Yes, it's fantastic to work on FSD. But if you want AGI, that's a different ballgame. And here's the thing. If you're really passionate about AGI, if you could work at Tesla and develop AGI there, but your equity would be completely swamped by the auto company, by the robotics company, and by the energy company. So, and the financial considerations and the investment considerations and all of the other business considerations would be swamped. So this is the most comfortable arrangement of all. Elon also asked the question, should I just put all my companies into a private company and call it a day? And that's a different issue. That's a very open issue. That's an interesting issue. But at the end of the day, Tesla has got a compelling interest in having an investment in an AI company. X has a compelling interest in having an investment in an AI company. SpaceX has got a compelling interest in having an investment in an AI company. So having an AI company with a leader like Elon and potential investors like Tesla, X, and SpaceX, and Neuralink for that matter. Neuralink and AI make a very interesting combination. All of that's extremely interesting. So it makes so much business sense and commercial sense to have these companies invest in a separate entity called XAI.
Okay, so a couple of things. One is the people who say, well, we should not invest in XAI. Tesla doesn't need it. The value could go down. I just tried to remind them that Elon himself said that Tesla needs to have, AGI at the part of it. He couldn't do it. So why would you now think that we should not invest in XAI? Every
product, I'll just remind you, every product that Tesla makes needs
Yeah.
AI.
Yep.
I mean, quite apart from FSD, the value add of true AI in each of these products is very high indeed, and really will separate the product from the market.
Yeah, and there's different kinds of AI. There's the real world AI, which Tesla is the leader on. There's the LLMs, which also includes video now. And then there's the AGI, which I think that's all going to converge right later. And so it's important that we're connected. What do you think about this idea? Cern Basher, I don't know if I can explain it really well, but it's his idea was that a lot of people who want Tesla to invest in XAI, they're doing it because it's an Elon Musk company. I certainly said it, right? It's like, why wouldn't you invest in a company that's run by Elon? Yes, it's a gamble, but it can also do really well. And so he said, is why not just create another entity, let's call it Musk Inc., that all the companies have shares of that. And then Tesla invests in that company so that you can get a piece of all the companies, not just XAI.
Well, why put it in Tesla? Why not just have a separate entity called Musk Industries, and it has a share of each of those companies, and you invest in it? I mean, functionally,
Tesla shareholders should have access to the other companies, and this is how you do it.
Yeah,
but Tesla invests.
Yeah, I functionally do that. I have shares in Tesla. I have an equity stake through SPV in SpaceX, Neuralink, and XAI. The only one of his companies, and Boring Company, sorry. So I have it in all of his companies.
Yeah, you do it because you have access to these SPVs, but the regular Tesla investor doesn't. And so they're saying, hey, why don't you create that Tesla, invest in those. Therefore, you're a Tesla investor, you just kind of like, indirectly get benefit if those things do really well. Well, that's just the other idea.
The right way to do that is to have a public company in which he contributes, X percentage of his stock. But the problem for him is, having public companies is a pain for him because, he has this, he has this independent streak. It's really difficult. And if it's a private company, then that limits the ability of people to participate in it. So once you talk about having a private company with ownership in these companies, then you back to this limitation on who can invest in it.
Have you calculated or given some thought of what's the value of an AI business for Tesla in the future?
Well, SAI was valued at $24 billion or in that ballpark. I think it's ridiculous. My own estimate is probably 3 or 4 times more than it's actually worth, but it may grow into its investment. I think all of AI companies are being overvalued right now. It's it's a classic situation. But I've invested what I think to be a reasonable amount of money to speculate with. These are these crazes that occur over time. It's like the EV craze. When Tesla went to $400 a share, people were buying shares in Rivian and in Lucid that, these companies had no prospect of survival, let alone becoming, doing very well, because of the amount of money they were investing and the rate at which they were investing versus their ability to execute. Tesla and SpaceX both paid their dues, the traditional way. These companies that think they can sprout like mushrooms and build these markets overnight, it's not going to happen. And if you put enough billions into it over time, you may be able to keep them alive. But Elon does it the right way. He does it, in a very measured way from a financial point of view. He's very conservative, incredibly conservative financially, and it pays.
And what he's able to do is convert the investments in AI into real world dollars, real world revenue. And the first one is Robotaxi. We got a few minutes here. What's your vision and forecast for Robotaxi's impact to Tesla's market cap in the future?
You know, this is the big one. I mean, I say it's the big one, but actually the bot, which is coming right behind it, may be even bigger. But this is a big one. You know, Elon rightfully says that it's going to be the biggest value transformation in history. It's more than possible. It's whether it's probable, I don't know. But boy, is it worth a bet. I mean, these 6 million cars could each become worth, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then you're talking about 6 million each. Yeah. And then you're talking about, you know, $12 trillion in terms of real value.
Yeah.
So
just to be clear, right? Every single car that Tesla's ever made, even the old ones that are now FSD capable or autonomy capable because they have the 8 cameras and a computer in them. And if they make it backward compatible to hardware 3 or even earlier, he said that at some point I can turn it on. 7 million cars will automatically be part of the Tesla network. My car that I spent whatever 50 grand on it will all of a sudden be worth, even though it's old, how old doesn't matter how old it is, it'll be worth 200 grand. There will be people that want to pay because of what they can do is put in a network and make money. That's what you're referring to,
the
right?
current value of your car is probably 20 grand or in that ballpark.
Yeah.
You're talking about a 10-time, you know, increase in value. I mean, you'd have to own property, you know, on the shorefront of, you know, Monte Carlo to have that kind of transformation.
So and then what's going to happen to Tesla's market cap in the future once this is all running?
You know, some people actually try and calculate it to the decimal point. It's so pointless, to coin a pun. Look, it's going to be very significant. Does it matter whether it's $4,000 a share or $3,000 a share or $7,000 a share? Is that really germane? It's, you know, you talk about your $20,000 asset becoming worth $200,000. All right, maybe you're wrong. Maybe it's $100,000. That's 5x. You know, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
If you want more than that, you know, you can dream. That's fine, but it's good enough.
So as I think it through, okay, Tesla's a car company. It makes cars. Fine. But every car now is possible to be autonomous ready. It can be a robotaxi at some point in the future. And it makes your car safer and easier to drive. So Elon, I loved it. In the last couple of earnings call, he actually referred to demand driver because you and I have talked about this. And I go, don't you think that FSD improves, that there will be more sales of cars, of Tesla cars? Because who wants to buy any car that's not possibly going to be a robotaxi in the future? Then you have this ability to make money if you put in a robotaxi. So all of a sudden, it's not a cost, not an expense for you to buy a Tesla. It's now become a revenue generator. He said this at the last call, at the earnings call, or the annual shareholder meeting, where he sees that the amount of money you can make per month if you just lease it and rent it out for like a small number of hours per day is more than what you would pay for financing per month. So all of a sudden, it's like, it doesn't cost you anything to buy this thing. And then, so then what is a car maker becomes this thing where every car you make is, you know, the price of it is 200 grand and not even more, right? It's like every car you make now, can be valued at 200 grand instead of the 50 grand. And it's all profit. More, almost all of it is all profit. So it just becomes, really? Is that what can happen that way?
Well, a couple of things. I don't expect every car owner. I don't even expect a majority. I expect a small minority of car owners will
be part of the network.
Will be part of the network. Elon thinks a majority. I don't. Mm-hmm. Who am I to argue with Elon? But my own, thinking is that it's going to be a minority. I think the real value for Tesla is it's going to drive demand through the roof. I mean, through the roof. The problem, I think, is going to be building the factories fast enough, and maybe they just get Hyundai or whoever to build the cars as well. It's going to change everything, and so it depends on how fleet of foot they are.
Fleet of foot. I haven't heard that forever. Okay. I love it. Thank you so much, Larry. Appreciate this. Follow him at Tesla Larry on X. That was fun. Thank you so much, Larry.
Thanks, David.
Bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.